Pokemon. Gotta catch 'em all. I think the saddest part about exposing something like this is you love it, you know? Everybody was so excited about this, but the truth of the matter is that there is some issues with Pokemon. Some people have already talked about it, but this is just a little bit extra to show you for those people who don't like to believe or think people are conspiracy theorists. Here's all the facts that have to do with Pokemon and have to do with this entire story. So, some people are going in and talking about the fact that Pokemon is probably not exactly what you think it is, and it's probably bad. It's like when you're young and then somebody has to explain to you about the Tooth Fairy or the Easter Bunny or old Saint Nick. It just kind of disappoints you after a while, and that's kind of where we're at right now with this. Why Pokemon Go isn't the dream come true you think it is. Pokemon Go requires you to give permission to use several privacy intrusions, and that includes location services and camera usage and data, time zone, and so on. Now, it's not surprising that people are already questioning it. The thing about that is some people just look at that and say, okay, they want some of this information. What's the big deal? The big deal is when you weren't reading the fine print, which, none of us do. I mean, I didn't. I had to go back and look after a while. It just kind of felt a little weird, this game coming out. But it's a privacy thing to where you give them permission to look at where your locations are, even if you're not playing the Pokemon game. You give them the permission to look at all of your Gmail, that anything you've done through Google, Gmail, it's all one account now. They're allowed to look at it. They're allowed to open your camera whenever they want, even if you don't know it's being open, and so on and so forth. Your time zone, where you are, your times, anything. That's what the issue is with it, and that's what some people are a little bit confused about, a little, confused about. That's what the issue is. Um, you know, if you remember correctly, there was another app that actually had an issue like this, and theirs wasn't even as intrusive. They weren't trying to open your app when you weren't, or your camera when you weren't. They did have issues. They were trying to read your emails and check your text messages and different things like that. And, people were getting mad about it. And, there was this whole uproar on why Facebook Messenger didn't work, but it was a privacy issue that also happened there. And that was what these apps are starting to do, is they're trying to do it privately where you don't realize it. There was a little guy by the name of Snowden who was talking about it, and he was telling everybody that, look, the government is doing this without your permission. Now, when you're looking at Pokemon Go and Facebook Messenger, we're giving the permission, but we just don't know to the extent of what we're giving the permission. So the first thing that I noticed whenever I was looking at it is this. This is the first page that pops up whenever you open up the app. I'm not exactly sure how it looks on Android. I have an iPhone, but this is what it looks like whenever you open it. And it says Niantic, it's the Pokemon company. Okay, it's like, that's interesting. I mean, I thought it was for people who really know about it. I mean, I haven't really played in a while, but I mean, I used to be a Pokemon master, yo. I mean, I could name 151 Pokemon, but I knew that Game Freak did the games, and Creatures, I think, also kind of did some games. And of course, everyone knows Nintendo. So when Niantic came up, I was like, okay, that's an interesting company. Can I look up what Niantic is? Because is that another Pokemon? Because it says it's the Pokemon company. So is it a Pokemon company? Let's look. So I look it up, and it says Niantic Labs at Google. At Google? So it is a Google company. So the company that is having an issue right now, that is fighting to say, hey, we're not doing anything intrusive, is actually the company that owns it. I was like, okay, I'll give that the benefit of the doubt. This is for the people who like to doubt, obvious statements, because they're like, you're reaching. Okay, I'm reaching. So let's see. What about John Hankey? Who is this guy? Is he like a Pokemon fan or this or that? I mean, it's crazy that he would have wanted to come up with this game, Um, Pokemon Go is created by Niantic, which was founded by John Hankey, the same person who helped find Keyhole. Keyhole was a company that was acquired by Google in 2004 and was responsible for technology that preceded products like Google Earth. So the person who helped create Google Earth and probably, worked a little bit on Google Maps is the one who's making this game. It doesn't really, add up. But Keyhole was also funded by a government-controlled venture capitalist firm that may be linked to intelligence operations. That's the CIA venture capital arm in QTEL, as Wikipedia describes it. Now, we're not going to go deep into this in QTEL. I'm not even going to touch on it. this is just what was written on lots of sites. I mean, anything I'm writing here, anything you see, you can find. It's real simple, but we're not even going to go there. I mean, I'm just like the rest of you guys. All of us wanted to do this, play this game. I mean, I've caught a lot. I'm pretty good on it right now. It's been an issue where I really wanted to continue playing because, and I mean, I still played. I mean, it's a awesome game. It's a lot of fun. You know, people really look at this and they really want to, continue. I mean, who doesn't want to have a Charmander and a Bulbasaur and a Squirtle and a Pikachu, and evolve them into, Blastoise and Venusaur and Charizard. I mean, this is what we want. I mean, I don't know about you, but my Pikachu can be Raichu level, but let's keep him as a Pikachu. But I mean, I'm there with you. And so that's why it made it so hard to look at and see that this is what is happening. But the truth of the matter is, this is what's happening. And that logo at the beginning of the game is one thing that really bothered me, because when you go and open Twitter, just try. Open your Facebook for the first time, open your Twitter, open any of them. You're going to see a logo that just shows whatever the logo of the actual company is, not the company that did it. And, so if it was a Nintendo game, we'd usually see it here, this or that. If it's whatever game it is, you see that. But seeing Niantic, it's like, okay, it's kind of like they're showing you, hey, look, this is not fully we're calling it the Pokemon company, but it's a Google company. I mean, it's a Google company. So, I mean, take that how you want to take it, but that's just the way things happen. So, anyways, fast forward to I think it was yesterday or a couple days ago, they kind of put out a press release, and it says, we recently discovered that Pokemon Go account creation, because people were getting mad, on the iOS. I don't know how it is on Android again. Erroneously was asking for full access and permission for users' Google accounts. Once we became aware of this error, we began working on a client-side fix to request permissions for only basic Google profile information in line with the data we actually access. Now, this is an actual statement from the company, and forget everything else that's going to happen, okay? Forget the fact that everybody's happy because you might have caught these things. I know there's going to be a lot of people who already clicked off on this. There's going to be some people who watch it. There's going to be some people who share this with someone and they don't want to listen to what I'm saying because, it's Pikachu. But listen to what I'm saying, okay? Now, that's one thing, and the people are like, okay, maybe you got that from somewhere else. Okay, look, here's Niantic. It's their actual company. It says Pokemon Go. This is the actual website, and here's the permission. So I'm showing you what it looks like so that no one's saying, oh, he's making this up. Then we're going to go ahead and zoom in on that permissions update, okay? And it says the same thing you saw earlier. We discovered that, Pokemon Go account, they were looking for more access, yada, yada, yada. Now, however, this is straight from their website, okay? Just, you got to follow me. However, Pokemon Go only accesses basic profile information, specifically your user ID and email address, and no other Google account information is or has been accessed or collected. Once we became aware of this error, we began working on a side client to fix request permissions for only basic profile information. That's what we access, which is Google has verified that no other Google's verified that no other information has been received or accessed by Pokemon Go or by Niantic. Google will soon reduce Pokemon Go's permission to only access the basic profile data that they need, and users do not need to take any actions themselves. This right here is a lot, and you got to break this down because there's levels to this. Let's just go to the end here. Google will soon. Why will soon? Why is a multi-billion-dollar company saying that they will do it soon? Not immediately. Not today. Not this week. Will soon. What does soon mean? I say soon all the time as a procrastinator. What does soon mean? So that already gives you that. Why soon? Is it because they're trying to get information and they have to get a little bit more time to obtain all the information they want, or they're trying to see if more people will add it first and then they can get the information from them before they do it, and then after they've gotten enough information, then they will do it? I mean, we have over 7.5 million downloads, maybe 8 at this point, million downloads for this game, okay? Once we became aware of this error, so this is saying that we became aware of it, meaning they didn't know from the beginning. Okay, let's look. Now, this right here is an actual disclosure from the actual original thing that you sign and you collect, and you just said that you wanted to be a part of whenever you got the app, which nobody really reads ever. I mean, I'm not going to waste my life reading those things all the time, but sometimes you probably have to. But they also know one thing. What's the most important thing in the world? It's not money, guys. It's time. So that's why they have this really long thing that they always want you to read, because I think it's, if you read that, you'll end up losing 7 years of your life or something ridiculous because of the amount of things that we actually use. But and then there's always changes that they're like, hey, there's an update, guys. And everyone's like, okay, whatever. I don't care. Let's just keep moving. So in this thing, it says this: information disclosed for our protection and the protection of others. We cooperate with government and law enforcement officials. Okay, government, CIA, NSA, FBI, any of these things that are higher than just your local law enforcement or law enforcement. And then it says law enforcement officials. What's law enforcement officials? That's, your sheriffs, your cops. Besides all those, everything will fall into those two positions. This is where it gets interesting, which people aren't figuring out. And this is why it's like, okay, you can say we're conspiracy theorists. That's cool. But listen to this. This is just a truth report, okay? Private parties to enforce and comply with the law. Okay. So it says we cooperate with the government and law enforcement officials, or. So now it's saying yes to the government and law enforcement, which means they're putting all that in one boat. Or if there's a private party. What is the private party? That's where people are not understanding, is that this information, they're up here saying, oh, we haven't accessed any of your other information. Don't worry about that. But they're saying right here, private parties to enforce and comply with the law. We may disclose any information about you or your authorized child. So even the children that you authorize, okay, parents, even the children that you allow to use it, if they're looking at a picture of them, if they know any information because they put it up, they're going to give it to whoever it is, even this private party, that they want. I get the government and law enforcement. They're already looking at us anyway. We all know that. It's the truth. This guy told us. So, he had to leave because, you're not allowed to be a patriot. It's kind of wrong. But anyways, law enforcement. That is in our possession. Okay, cool. This is what you got to break down stuff, guys. It's not like, oh, you're looking too deep. No, it's right here. That is in our possession or control. So it's in their control to get all access to your Google account. So they said, we're not going to use it. We'll soon reduce, that's so weird, the permissions to only access basic profile, and users do not need to take any action themselves, because somebody knows that this is a little effed up. That's why they wrote that. But it's saying that is in our possession. So they're saying, oh, we haven't accessed any of the other stuff, but they're saying here, or in our control. So that means in their control to get the items, which they said they were never going to get. But if it's in their control, they can do it to the government and law enforcement officials, or again, private parties, as we are. And then it goes on talking about, this is where all the good stuff is. But you can't miss the poop. You can't smear this poop and then try and put this Febreze down here, which is basically talking about, hey, we if there's something illegal happening, we're going to help people. That's fine. I think that's after like the whole Apple debacle where they couldn't open that phone of the guy who was a bomber, or he was a shooter, I believe, a while back. But okay, we'll go past that. And this is where it got a little bit interesting to me, where it was saying, with the account, you have your Google account. Okay, that's cool. Or you can use your Pokemon Trainer Club. A lot of people, I don't know how many people have this. I didn't, and I know a lot of people were using their actual Google account. That's why this became a story that they, shoved under the rug. Or your Facebook. Now, I don't know if on Android you're allowed to, but I know that none of us on iOS were allowed to use our Facebook, which would have been simpler, which would have had a lot less of an information to have to give out, because with your Google, you have so many more things than you do with your Facebook. And that's what was a little bit interesting to me, to create your account. Your PII, your personally identifiable information that is the stuff that they're going to be looking at. Okay. So they're saying that this is the kind of things they're going to be doing. But they say also with Facebook, they never allowed you to use Facebook. So I don't understand why exactly it was they were doing it. Now, the thing that's kind of interesting to me is the game is, that AR. At first I thought it was actual reality, you know, actual reality that you see in real life. It's actually augmented reality. What is augmented reality? A technology that superimposes a computer generated image on a user view of the real world, thus providing a composite view. Okay, it's like, all right, so what's a composite view? I was just trying to break this down a little bit. I usually don't do this, but I did it anyway for just because of the video. A convention of representation in which part of a figure is shown in profile and another part is shown in the same figure, also called twisted perspective. Now we're getting into art. Now they're kind of talking about art, and this is, when I looked up what twisted perspective is, it's a thing for art where the face is the face is looking towards you, but then the body is sideways, kind of like walking like an Egyptian type thing. So I was like, all right, let's break it down just to look at what these two other things are. What's twisted? This is where we were looking at with the thing that doesn't really make sense to our situation, but this one does. A personality or a way of thinking, unpleasantly or healthily abnormal, warped. So warped thinking is the way that it breaks down augmented reality, Um, and then the other word was perspective. The first part really shows you exactly what I was talking about with drawings and stuff. So we'll go to the next one. What's that one? Does this one work with us? I think it does. Particular attitude towards a way regarding something, a point of view. So a warped point of view is what augmented reality is. Now it sounds fun, but truthfully it says twisted. It's a warped or an unhealthy or an abnormal, unpleasantly unhealthy, abnormal, warped point of view is what it means. So this game is about warping your point of view, twisting the way that your point of view and what life in the world is. Now I get it. I get it, man. Like I'm a big fan of it too. You look here and you see, oh, they're like, okay, they talk about creatures and oh, they're the companies, Game Freak and Nintendo. Um, and you kind of get an idea that this is a company that they really wanted, but it's more about warping your point of view. This augmented reality is about warping your point of view. Now I know a lot of people are saying, okay, he's tripping, he's going a little wild, he's just talking about whatever. Okay, cool. This is something that I didn't even look up the United States one because I didn't want to know, because it just made me sad when I saw this, that 3/4 of UK children spend less time outdoors than prison inmates in a survey. Why? Because of time spent playing in parks and woods and fields. It's shrunk a lot dramatically. Why? Because there's less green spaces, too many apartment complexes going up, this and that. And then, of course, because of digital technology, which, I know a lot of people who don't allow their kids to play for, a certain amount of time. After a certain amount of time, you got to go do something else. And then because of parents' fears, parents have become more scared, which is interesting because the parents that are parents now were the ones who were playing outside. So, but then the world's getting a little warped. Now I know everyone's like, okay, your augmented reality theory is kind of stupid. It doesn't make sense. Pokemon's just a game. It's not like they're trying to do anything like that to us. It's not like the kids of the countries are actually not playing outside. Yeah, they aren't going outside. Oh, but this game is good, right? Like, it's not about digital technology. It's not like there's ever been a movie or something about people who only look at the realities and the video games. Okay, I know. I know I'm going off on a tangent there, and I'm kind of showing you that maybe that's what they're kind of trying to think of. Maybe it's not. You never know. You never really have an idea of what it is that they want you to do. Look, I love Pokemon as much as the next person. Maybe a lot of them like it a lot more, but I was there at the beginning where, Ash was doing his thing in Pallet Town, and I was a fan of the show, of the games. I've always been a fan of Pikachu, and I mean, just like everybody else, I'd like to catch them all from Bulbasaur all the way to Mew, all 151 of these originals. Why not? It'd be a lot of fun. You just got to be careful. Now, people are going to look at it and say, okay, well, it's not like this is, what do you think? This is like the government, or you think this is Illuminati, or do you think it's one of those types of things? I mean, it's not like the weirdness of Star Trek, where somebody died that was a part of their movie or a part of the thing. It's not like somebody whose Pokemon kind of like died because something weird happened in a freak accident or some. Yeah, you can go look him up. Anyways, I just think that everyone needs to just be wary. This isn't. I'm not going to be sitting here doing videos to just say, "Hey, everything that you think is wrong, you need to do this," because a lot of things that you kind of think might be wrong. But whenever you think something's great, just because a company told you it was, that's kind of silly. It's kind of like, looking at a friend who lied to you, and then what would you do? You'd get mad. Or you'd be like, really, you lied to me? You're not just going to believe anything they say after that. Once you find out somebody lies to you, you're not going to believe that everything they say. But we're conditioned as people to just automatically believe what the television or what companies, just because they're a company or just because they're bigger than us or because they make more money than us, we automatically have to believe them, which that's not the truth. But then whenever somebody tells you something different, you know, you don't want to hear it. I love this game, or I love the idea of the game, and I love going out and meeting new people. I mean, when you look at the news, they were talking about the frenzy, but they weren't talking about how great this game actually was doing. Yeah, a lot of people went outside and a lot of people talked, but in the midst of shootings, in the midst of all these people that were outside shooting, there were people out there who were together. We had fans of the Pokemon series that were out there that had never met before. You had older people with younger people. There's generations upon generations that love this game now. I mean, I think the game's 20, right? It's like 18, 20, but something like that. It's like 20 years old now, this game, or the show and the whole process of Pokemon. And so you got all these people who are really interested in it that still actually love it, that still are doing it. Now you have people going outside. So when millions of people have downloaded this game, hundreds of thousands of people are going out to different locations, and they're all having an adventure, this Pokemon adventure, and they're doing their thing. And yet on the news, they're still not even showing that, look, this game right here in the midst of one of the country's mini civil war that we have going on, that people of all shapes, sizes, creeds, colors, religions came together and had a little bit of fun over the weekend in unison because of something that they all liked was Pokemon, but they're not talking about that. You got to be a little bit careful sometimes just believing everything you hear. Well, that's my time. I'm done. Thank you for listening. If you like it, please subscribe, share, like. Tell me what you think. Am I out of line? Do I not make sense? Is it hard to believe that a company like Pokemon would do something like this, or, that I'm just off base? Let me know. I want to know what you think.